Testing, testing. Yeah, I can't even tell if this thing working or not. It look like it's working. I don't know how to work this, y'all, but we gonna get it together. So Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney, aka Hanos, aka Debo Dev. I just want to talk about it. I can't even tell if people in the building right now, but I'm just gonna lay down what I wanted to say. So who knows? I don't even know how to do none of this stuff on here. I'm working this off my phone. So I'm working the StreamYard off my phone. I think I figured out how to post a link up here. You never know. Hater might want to come in here and get cooked or something. Let me see how I do that. Bear with me, y'all. Let's see how I do this. Yeah, I think I posted the link. I don't even know how to post it. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there go the link right there. Hopefully I can figure out how to put somebody up here once they click the link. But I'm just going to talk about Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. right now. I keep hearing a lot of people just, saying that Brian Norman Jr. is going to win this fight, like Devin don't have a chance and everything. So what's good, Hood Rich? All right, yeah, I'm trying to figure it out, man. I see you in the building. Yeah, so yeah, Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney. Trying to talk about that real quick. Oh, I'm good, man. Ain't nothing. I posted the link right there in case you want to click the link and come up here and talk. Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. I can see now where the comments gonna pop up at. But yeah, Brian Norman Jr. and different live streams. I keep seeing people, putting comments, directed towards me talking about they can't wait until Devin Haney get knocked out and all that, you know. And for sure, I think that Brian Norman do have a chance. He got a puncher's chance. That's what it is, man. He got a puncher's chance. And so basically, I just want to break down all the different ways that I think Devin Haney can beat him. I think Devin Haney gonna cook him. I think Devin Haney it's just levels to this, man. I keep saying that people be getting mad when I say it's levels, but indeed it's levels to this, man. And that's how I see it. So I'm basically going to just break down, the keys to victory or the things that I think Devin is going to be doing that's going to make him win the fight. The reason why I think that Brian Norman Jr. is going to lose the fight. And so, who that boxing whiz won? What's good? Maybe I should wait and see how many people, see if some people show up in here. I think I see 6 people in here in the building. The link is pinned. So, after I talk my stuff, I'm gonna start trying to bring people up. I don't even know how to bring nobody up yet. Let me see what somebody say. Hold on. Okay, so Hood Rich said 50-50 to me. Nobody have a clear way of winning, to be honest. Man, I see a clear way for Devin Haney to win, man. From what I've been seeing, from what I'm looking at, when I look at Brian Norman Jr. fights, I see a lot of things that Devin could exploit, man. Let me see. Rich Porter 40 said 9-3 Devin unanimous decision win. All right. Let me see. Yeah, people Haney. Yeah, people hate Haney. You know that. Hood Rich said that. Let me see. This is the one I was looking at. Boxing Wiz One said, "Flyer, why you always getting into it in Upper's live chat, man? Because Upper crazy, man. He and he be lying on me. The boy be lying, man. They call me. He like to call me frequent liar, but this boy lie every chance he get, man. But I ain't gonna talk too much about Upper. This ain't about Upper right now. In case he pull up, let me see. He said I got Dev beating Brian too. Okay, so I'm looking. All right, so yeah, so let me start off, man. With the ways that I think the reasons I think Devin is gonna beat Brian Norman Jr. The footwork is number one. You know, the first thing is the footwork. I think Brian Norman Jr., he's okay, but his footwork is not that good, man. And we know Devin got superb footwork. I think if Devin can come out and get back to boxing the way he been boxing, I mean, even with the last fight that we saw, people was talking about Devin Haney running and all of that stuff. They were saying, I ain't trying to hear none of that, man. It's the footwork. If you had Ramirez running after him, chasing him, he ain't seemed like he wanted to calm down. So if Devin wanted to jump on his bike until he calmed down, Devin was trying to fill it out right now. Yeah, right then. He was just getting back into it. And Ramirez just seemed like he was real anxious to try to get in and throw a left hook or whatever. So Devin got on his bicycle. I ain't mad at it. That was his first filler back in. So, footwork. So I think footwork is one of the keys to victory for Devin because I think Brian Norman, when in order for his power to really be effective, he have to be planted. I don't want to say he flat-footed, but I'm gonna say he flat-footed. You know what I'm saying? And I keep hearing people saying, "Oh, I don't know what y'all looking at. I see him on his toes." Yeah, he be on his toes, but when he trying to throw his power shots, he be flat-footed. He gotta plant his feet to really get some power off. And so if you look at any of his fights, when he punching on these dudes a lot. It's not like his power is like, so devastating that he just hurting people every punch he throw. No, he throwing a bunch of punches, he catching people and all of that, but it's like he's wearing them down. And that one punch from Brian Norman that we saw him knock out Jen Sasaki, man, he was standing right in front of him, man. And so if y'all think Devin just gonna be standing right in front of him and slugging it out with him like a lot of these other dudes was doing, man, I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Devin ain't gonna fight like that, man. He better not fight like that. And so that's the first thing, footwork. I think if Devin go in there using his footwork, it's gonna be hard for Brian Norman to keep up, And so the second thing is the jab and the jab speed. So I know everybody, harping on the fact that um Brian Norman he got the reach advantage over Devin. Yeah, he do got the reach advantage over Devin, but it's not gonna matter if he's not faster than Devin and he's not as polished as Devin is. I think Devin got the better jab, clearly. Devin arguably got the best jab in boxing. I can only think of a few people who probably got a better jab than Devin you know, um, Jamal Charlo being one of them. So hold on, let me take this off the screen. I still got this on the screen. Yeah, Jamal Charlo being one of them. But Devin jab, I think if Devin keep the stick out there on him, I think that'll keep him at bay. And I don't. He probably do got an answer. He probably can eventually figure out the jab, but I think Devin Haney's jab is one of the keys to victory because everybody talking about Ryan Garcia catching Devin and timing him off the jab. Y'all already know every time I mention Ryan, I gotta throw the Ostarine disclaimer out there. Yeah, he was on Ostarine, man. That's what it is. But I don't think that everybody is fast enough. Everybody don't have that left hook that Ryan Garcia got. Ryan Garcia got a left hook that's fast, it's power. With speed comes power. And I think Ryan Garcia's left hook is way better than Brian Norman Jr.'s. Just because he knocked out Jin Sasaki like that don't mean that he got now all of a sudden he got the best left hook in boxing or something. We only saw him do that to one person, man. Y'all be just falling for the hype too quick, man. But the jab, I think what I was trying to say is people was talking about Ryan Garcia when he was, when he initially caught Devin, it was from a counter off that jab. And so he hurt Devin with the he caught Devin by surprise because his hook was fast enough to catch Devin off the jab. So Devin been throwing his jab that way. They call it the bow and arrow jab or whatever. They say he don't keep his hand up. He don't keep his hand. He don't keep his hand up by his head when he after he throw that jab or while he's throwing the jab. So they call it a bow and arrow jab. The way he stick out the jab or whatnot. And to up until that point when he fought Ryan Garcia, nobody else was fast enough to be able to catch Devin off of that so-called flaw that he had. The way he rolled out after throwing that jab. So and people have tried. And so I think it just was a speed thing with Ryan Garcia, catching him off that jab. And plus Ryan was trying to time him off the jab. He had a left hook fast enough. I don't think Brian Norman Jr. is that good. His left hook isn't as good as Ryan Garcia's. It's not as fast. It's not as powerful. I just don't think it's. I think he got a thudding power. Where Ryan Garcia got a speedy, crafty left hook. That's it's so fast. I mean, I always bring this up. When he fought who was it? I can't remember right now. The name slipped my mind, but he hit this guy with a left hook so fast that even when they slowed it down, you could barely see him catch him with the left hook. So Ryan Garcia left hook is fast. It got some speed on it, and so I think it's way different than Brian Norman Jr.'s left hook. His left hook, you can Devin gonna see that a mile away, man. So I don't think he gonna be able to. I hope he don't be able to counter Devin off the jab, and I hope that the move up to 147 didn't slow Devin's jab down too much. And from the training videos, it don't look like it did. So also with that jab, I think he should throw a 1-2 combination because we did see. And the one time that we did see Brian Norman look real vulnerable and he actually hit the canvas when he fought Boca Chica, and it was a right cross. If my memory served me correct, it was a right cross that caught him. And Devin known to throw that 1-2 punch. We saw him doing that all night against George Kambosos. And so I think that could possibly, we don't know about Brian Norman Jr.'s chin. I think his chin is questionable. Y'all want to question Devin's chin. I think we need to question his chin because Devin got hit by a person with arguably the best left hook in boxing, and I think he got caught with it more than 4 times, flush and got up from it. So, I think his chin is in question. Okay, so the third thing is distance control, man. I think if Devin can get out there and control the distance, that's going to limit his power. That's going to limit Brian Norman Jr.'s power, because you got to get in close, to throw them power shots. I don't think that he going to be able to really close the distance on Devin if Devin control the distance, because Devin got better footwork. He just a more crafty guy. So I think, if he control the distance, that's going to be one of the ways that he's going to be able to kind of take away Brian Norman Jr.'s power, with that left hook, because even though we saw with Jen Sasaki when he caught him with that left hook that knocked him out, he jumped into it, but Jen Sasaki was right there for it. He was there, he he wasn't. He was trying to slug it out with him. It looked like, and so I don't think Devin gonna be there for that. And so yeah, the distance control, that's I think number 4 is movement. And when I say movement, I mean feints. Like I think Devin got to keep him guessing with the feints and stuff like that. So he won't know really when he won't be able to really time Devin if Devin used feints and movement and stuff like that. So, that right there, I think Devin, can feint on him all day, and just outsmart him, man. I think the fifth thing is experience. Devin definitely got more experience, in these situations, man. I think Devin Devin been in more fights. He been in this position before, where he's fighting somebody who everybody's looking at as a puncher, that and people calling Devin pillow fisted and all of that. And I don't even know if it's going to be that way. Being that Devin's moving up to 147. We don't know what that power going to look like. When he moved up from 135 to 140 in Fort Regis, we saw a glimpse of Devin having some power there. We saw him hurt Regis. We had people mad that he didn't stop Regis and all of that. We had Regis after the fight talking about how Devin actually had power, So and that was just from 135 to 140. And then his next fight, well, he really looked drained, in his next fight. So I think he probably, outgrew. He had one fight at 140, and the next fight he looked like he outgrew it. So we saw Dranos again, after that. So moving up to 147, I think it's a chance that we might get another glimpse of some power coming from Devin. So, and that experience is it. And so the sixth thing that I think that Devin would be a key to victory for Devin over Brian Norman Jr. is his heart and him remaining focused. I think that was a big thing in the Ryan Garcia fight, not being focused. Devin seemed like he was fighting the wrong fight to me. Like, especially after he got hit, like in the beginning, before he got caught with that counter left hook off the jab, I could see him fighting the way that he was fighting. But after he got caught, and even after he got knocked down, it just looked like from that point on, Devin wasn't focused. He was fighting the wrong fight. It seemed like Devin was trying to get his lick back after that. So we had Devin trying to walk Ryan Garcia down. Devin, I think that was a bad decision right there in the fight. For Devin to keep walking towards Ryan Garcia and trying to walk him down. I guess he was trying to get his lick back. He was trying to, um, get his get back. But I think that wasn't the move. I think he needed to stay on his toes and box Ryan Garcia. Now, in that fight with Ryan Garcia, the rounds that Ryan Garcia so-called took off or got tired, we saw Devin winning those exchanges. We saw him winning those rounds. And so I think Devin needs to remain focused in this fight. If he get clipped or something, he definitely got to tie up. I keep seeing people, I keep hearing people talking about, is Devin going to grab and hold? And they saying like Devin don't get to grab and hold, but that's what you're supposed to do when you get hurt. You're supposed to tie the person up. Like when Shane Mosley clipped TBE, when he clipped Floyd Mayweather, what we see him do? Immediately try to tie him up. You know what I'm saying? And Shane Mosley pulled away, but Floyd was trying to tie him up. You know what I'm saying? When he caught him again after that, he tied him up. That's real important that you tie the person up and make it out of the round while you're hurt. I think that would be a mistake for Devin to try to stand there and fight with him still after he get hurt. I mean, I think that's just stupid. And I hope that he don't pay attention to these stupid fans who telling him that, haters, they ain't fans. The people telling him not to hold and all of that stuff. If you get in trouble, you better hold. If you get clipped, you got to tie the person up to try to make it out of the round, or until you at least get your legs back up under you. So um, yeah, so I think that's a big thing that Devin gonna have to do. He gonna have to remain focused. You know, I think his heart can probably get him through that if he remain focused. If he get clipped, you know, make it through the round, then come back out in the next round and get back on your game. You know what I mean? So, and the last thing, I think just talent, man. I think Devin is a more talented fighter. You know, I just, and that's ain't no other way to put that one. I really don't have to explain that. I just think he got more talent. You know, I think he got more natural talent than Brian Norman. To me, I don't see what the hype is about. You know, maybe he'll show me something, but Brian Norman Jr. looked normal to me, man. He just, you know, he looked regular. You know, let me look in the comments see if I could uh see what people saying. Okay, somebody said Boxing Wiz one said, I just sub, bro. I just think when y'all be beefing in the chat, it's funny. Oh, shout out to you, bro. I appreciate it. All right, let me look and see how if I can figure out where to go. I don't know how to work this, man. I'm trying to see if anybody trying to come up. Let me post the link again. Cause I don't know how to pin the link. Let me see if I can figure it out real quick though. Uh, I definitely would like to know some of y'all thoughts. What y'all think about it? I got Shula Jameson in here talking about fanboy. Oh, you a fanboy? MC, he said, Shakur and Devin are the best pure boxers in the world today. Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, I can't hate on Shakur. Shakur, you're here for boxing. What's good, bro? I'm trying to figure it out, man. I put the link right there. I don't know if I know how to bring somebody up though. If you click the link, I'll try to figure it out. See if I can find where I gotta go to bring you up. I'm working this from my phone, man. But yeah, I was saying, I can't hate on Shakur at all. You know, I'm actually a fan of Shakur. You know, Shakur. I think Shakur is a pure boxer and one of the best in the game. Okay, you about to hit the gym? Okay, it said add to the stage. Let me see. It said you entered. Let me see if I can figure it out, bro. Okay,
Yep.
you're
What's up, homie? How
what's the
you?
deal, man?
Chilling,
I'm
man.
good,
Just
man.
about to get dressed and go get this work done, man. I don't feel like it, but you know how I go.
Yeah, what you got to say about you going for Devin though, right? You think Devin
Uh,
gonna win this fight, right?
yeah, I think they're gonna win pretty easy for real, for real.
Yeah, man, I keep saying people think I'm crazy when I say I think Devin gonna stop him, man. I just think that
I would
Brian
probably,
Norman. I
I
think
would probably,
Brian Norman. Say it again.
I said I would probably call you crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I remember you, the one who you one of the people who said that. You told me to cut it out, but you know the reason why I think that Devin probably could stop him because we don't know what Devin power going to look like moving up to 147 because we saw him at 140. You know, we saw him move up to 140 and hurt Regis, you know, and so he moving up and then his next fight, he was drained at 140. We saw Drainos again. So I'm thinking, you know, if he move up to 147, that power is in question, man. I don't know. So I
My
could be
only,
wrong.
my pushback to that is that I don't think you just discover power at 27. Like I mean, like some people might point to Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and say like Fury never had that type of power. But Fury's still a big man, you know what I mean? And we seen him like put dudes down before. But when it comes to Devin, that's never been his style. And I think Devin's last knockout might have been what, 2018, 2019 against forgot who it was, Antonio Moran or something like that. Was that his last knockout?
Yeah, yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
So it's not his style, nor is it his mentality. I think that if he was going to stop anybody, it should have been Regis, but he never stepped on the gas. He just kind of was like cruise controlling it. I'm not saying that he doesn't have the gear to do it. I just don't think he cares to do it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he cares to even take that chance. Like we just gonna win an easy, we're gonna win an easy fight, 10-2, 9-3, and we're gonna go to the next opportunity. I don't see him stopping. I don't see Devin getting another knockout in his career.
But that's what I'm saying though. I'm saying that I think the reason why Devin really his power wasn't really showing like that is because it could possibly be the fact that he was drained. That's what I'm saying. Like not being at the weight class that he need to be in, being drained, that can take some power out, take away punch resistance and different things of that, like that.
Well,
So I'm
I had
thinking him moving up to 147 uh, probably make him more comfortable and have more power. That's what I'm saying.
he may hit harder, but I don't see him turning into like a knockout artist. You know what I mean? Like I think he can
I'm
hit
not
hard. I
saying
think
that.
he'll hit harder. Not even. I just don't see him knocking this kid out. I think Brian Norman got a lot of dog in him. I'm choosing Devin to win. Like, don't get me wrong. But it's a fight where, people say it's a 50-50. I think it's evenly close to evenly matched, but I don't think it's 50-50. I think it's like 65-35.
When we saw the one
People,
time that we did see Brian Norman Jr. get hurt, though, it was from a right cross, bro. And it wasn't even a load up shot. It was just from a normal right cross. A crafty right cross caught him, and when he got up, he looked like he wasn't, good,
yeah, one of the
you
things
know.
too, one of the things too I see with Dev, like just watching him, even when he's hitting the bag, to me, it doesn't look like he's punching from his waist. Like he doesn't use his legs much. It seems like he used more of his top half to punch and not his lower half. I mean, maybe I could be overreading it. Like I'm just looking at when I see him hit the bag, he doesn't look like he put his lower half into it the way he should. Like he doesn't really sit on his punches. That's just how I see it. You know what I mean? But I don't think Devin needs to knock anybody out to win. I think Devin can beat almost anybody on the scorecards.
Yeah,
That's just the way
definitely
I
for
see
sure.
it. It's the way I kind of see it going. I just don't see I don't see him getting a knockout. Like I would, it would be nice. Don't get me wrong. I would like to see him get a stoppage, but if he can't, just win the fight. But we
But
also
you
got to
said,
remember what led him to the whole situation. Part of it, aside from the PEDs and stuff, is that Devin did try to fight a fight against Ryan, and it just wasn't Devin's fight. And Devin was doing just fine until he wasn't. You know what I mean? So I don't see him really even venturing into that universe again. Like it's just like, look, let me just get this win and get this next bag.
yeah, I mean, but sometimes when you catch when you hurt somebody, it's not intentional. What I mean is, you're not throwing the shot to try to knock them out. You just, it might just be a crafty shot. And those shots that you don't see coming is the ones that hurt you. And so I'm saying it could be a flash knockdown that could probably hurt him. And just from what I saw from that Boca Chica fight, it just made me question Brian Norman Jr.'s chin. But I could be wrong. But like you said, Devin don't need to knock nobody out to win the fight. He definitely don't.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I
you
just
said
don't.
you said you
I just,
think that you said you think Devin gonna win the fight easy. What's your reason for saying that?
so I was telling my homie the other day. So for me, it's just looking at it. It's Devin has been here before, right? Devin has been on the big stage, the bright lights. Devin has fought. I was at the Barclays when him and Ryan fought, and it was a zoo in there. Like it was chaos in there. Devin has fought on big stages. He's fought the Madison Square Card wasn't a big crowd, but it was a big event. Not not Madison Square, the Times Square. You know what I'm talking about. So I just think I give Dev the experience edge. And the other thing that Norman keeps talking about is power, 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 power. And I haven't heard him talk anything about skills. It's just power, power, power. And, I don't think that even if he tried to shift to a skills fight, like, all right, let's box, I think Devin easily outboxes him. I think Brian has to make it a fight, make it a brawl. But Devin's footwork and ability to escape is so good that I don't really think that he'll have to sit and brawl for extended periods of time. He might have to sit down and fight, yeah. But I don't think he'll have to do it for 12 rounds. Nah. And I think that other conversation too. Can you hear me, bro? Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
my
hear
fault.
you.
My fault. Yeah. The other thing too, I think that's overstated in boxing is that when people say, "Oh, this person doesn't have the power to keep that person off," well, if you know how to move, you don't have to have power to keep a person off. You just gotta have skills. I don't think that
Yeah.
having power is mandatory to keep somebody off. If that's the case, everybody with power would always win. If that was the case.
Hmm.
So I don't. I mean, yeah, Brian has bigger power for sure. He's a bigger puncher, no doubt. But I don't think being a bigger puncher leads to automatic success. I mean, it can help you get there, but it's just not automatic.
Yeah, that's their problem, man. They be thinking that power, the person with the power is always gonna win the fight.
Yeah,
When and a lot of times, the person to beat, the fighter to beat a person with power is a fighter with skills. Boxing skills. A person that's just gonna box him. A pure boxer, footwork, and
yeah.
all of that stuff.
It's for me, bro. Honestly, man, it's a fight I look so forward to just because, aside from the nasty comments that people say about Devin and things like that, however they feel about Devin, I genuinely appreciate this fight on so many levels. With Norman being 23, Dev is what, 27. These fights don't happen at these ages. We don't get Tito Trinidad against Oscar De La Hoya and both at 25 anymore. You know what I mean? Like, so just everything aside, how people feel about each person individually, how you might feel about Norman Senior or Bill Haney or whatever. Like, we got to put that shit to the side and really just look at these young boys and be like, yo, these boys really putting on at a time where it's a lot of silly stuff going on. The face of American, I would say the face of American boxing, American black boxing, Javante Davis. He got the stuff going on that he got going on, and he's supposed to be the one right now in the position with the real big fights that we should be looking forward to. And for whatever reason, that's not happening. So we got to celebrate the ones who are doing it right now. And I think that's the Normans and the Haneys. So
Yeah, I'm looking at Abdullah Mason too. I really like that kid too. Abdullah Mason, he the truth, man.
yeah, it's something there for sure. Definitely something there.
Yeah, we
So
saw
yeah,
him.
man.
We saw him get floored twice and everything, but for him to get back up and still do what he do, I think that says a lot about his dog. You know what I mean? So
But I said
hopefully
that
he
that
corrected that.
I said, I'm not fair to cut you off. I was saying though, for him to get knocked down early in his career is probably better for him because you know what it feels like now. Like, all right, I know what it feels like to get knocked down. I know what mistake I made. So boom, I can come back from that. And you kind of in a lot of ways, I hope it don't sound crazy, but you rather get knocked down by a lesser threat than a bigger threat. Although people gonna look at you and say, "Oh, you got knocked down by this dude." Well, yeah, now I know how it feels. So when I fight these other dudes, I'll be more defensively responsible. I'll do things this way. I'll do things that way, and I'll be okay. So I didn't make a big deal of those knockdowns. I thought that, the way he got up after those knockdowns and proceeded to stop that dude. I forgot his name. The dude with the weird haircut. He proceeded to stop the guy. So I'm like, yo, that's good for a 19, whatever he is, 20-year-old kid to be able to do, to be able to get up and knock that dude down. And, Abdullah might have been in a place too where he was smelling himself because he's always the best guy everywhere he goes in his age group anyway. So you need that sometimes. So yeah, I think that was great for him to kind of get knocked down early in his career.
Oh yeah, I agree with that, man. Because if he would have got knocked down by somebody, further along in his career, somebody more experienced, they probably would have been able to, jump on him and stop him. So yeah, I think you 100% right about him. It being
Right.
better for him to experience that from a lesser fighter,
And
a less dangerous fighter, sort of say a fighter that don't really know how to finish.
And that's freak. That's been my sentiment with, like, just a pivot for a half second. We ain't gonna stay on it. But Jerron Ennis versus Terrence Crawford. I've always said everybody's pushing boots into this fight, but you don't want your first challenge to be against. You don't want your first adversity to be against Terrence Crawford. You don't want to be standing in the ninth round hurt and tired, and this dude is doing stuff you never saw before, and it's like, oh snap, I don't know what to do here. And that's in a lot of ways that's what happened with Haney against Lomachenko. You heard Dev say to his pop, like, yo, he got me figured out. Like, he knows what I'm doing. And Bill did what he had to do to keep Dev calm. But in that situation, yeah, you don't want to wait until you against a top level guy. You don't want to be fighting Shakur, Devin, Keyshawn and be like, yo, I'm facing adversity. I've never been here before. He faced it. He knows what it feels like. And if he faces it again, it's like, all right, cool. I know what I have to do to get myself gather my bearings again. So yeah, I like Abdullah, man. I think that was great for him to get knocked down. Not great, but you know what I mean.
Hey, to back up to what you said, yo, when you said, Bill, Devin came back to the corner and told Bill that Lomachenko figured him out or whatnot. What was it? He was hitting him with the left hand, right? A straight left hand.
It was
He
a
kept
straight
hitting him
left,
with
yeah.
yeah, and so you remember what Bill said though? Bill said he told him to keep, doing what he doing because that was the whole plan. He said Lomachenko isn't known to hurt nobody or knock nobody out with a left hand, so we gonna give him that all night. Keep doing
Yeah.
what you doing.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying in the face of that was one of my knocks on Bill. Like people say, I don't criticize the Haney's. I do. We just got to talk about a specific incident. Like I don't really care too much about the promotional antics. Like Bill to me is just funny. He's a funny dude. He's a fun loving dude. So I don't really pay that stuff no mind. But in that spot, I didn't like the advice he gave him. I didn't really like it because it didn't really answer his question. It didn't really answer what Dev was asking. And you can't tell your kid like, yo, just keep getting punched in the face with a straight left because it can't hurt you. Well, it could hurt you it could hurt you. It could hurt you in the judge's opinion. You know what I mean? In the eyes of the judges. So,
Yeah,
but
it
yeah,
worked
man.
out for him though.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's why when people say Dev lost that fight, he didn't lose that fight, man. I had it a draw. I had Dev down 6-5 going into the 12th.
Hey
And Dev
man,
was mine.
to be honest, man, you know what it is, man. Lomachenko, man, it's him. Lomachenko be beating himself, man, because for some reason, he always take off them last, especially the 12th round. He always slow down on the 11th and 12th round. He just get them rounds away. The 12th round, he just don't look like he don't even try. Like he just
Well,
give up the 12th round every
it's
time, man.
it's crazy because he did the same thing against Tiafimo that he did with Devin, where he started late, and then everybody's like, "Oh, well, give him the win," even because he looked better in the second half of the fight. But you don't disregard the first half of the fight because you got you got what's the word? You got memory. What is it called when you got memory of something recent? Uh,
I don't,
not revisionist history, but it's something else. Whatever it's called, you know what I'm saying? Like
I don't,
it's
but
like
yeah, I know what you mean.
you can't.
The last thing they saw was Lomachenko getting the best of him, so
Yeah, because
they
he
want to
won
get it. The
five.
hype is there, so they want to get a fight to him.
Because he won what 5 of the last 6 rounds. Okay, we're gonna give him the fight. You can't forget the work that Dev did in the first half of the fight. Loma picked it up and started figuring Dev out. Yeah, but we don't disregard that because Dev slowed down in the second half. No, you got to add it up. Last time I had it a draw, but it
Yo,
could have.
I ain't even think it was close like that. I thought that Devin won the majority of the rounds, but I think what happened was for me, I think that the rounds that Lomachenko won, he won them more convincingly. So it looked like he had Devin, flustered and in trouble in those 2 rounds when he got off on Devin, and also I know this is funny. This sound funny, but Dev haircut, man, made it look worse than it actually was because every time he get hit, you see his hair flying and stuff. It just wasn't a good look. You know what I'm saying?
He
It
got
looked
grease in it.
worse.
He got grease in his eye.
No, he ain't take a knee or nothing like that. But yeah, but it just looked worse than the rounds that he won though. It looked like Lomachenko, had the better rounds in the fight, the better looking rounds, if that make any sense for you.
No, I'm with you all. I'm sorry, I had you on mute. I'm trying to brush my teeth and get out this crib. Go ahead,
Oh
go
yeah.
fast. I'm gonna brush my teeth real quick.
Yeah, man. So I definitely think that Devin Haney is going to win this fight, man. Anybody who think that Devin Haney don't got a chance, I think y'all crazy or y'all just haters, man. Y'all can click the link. I don't know how to pin the link though, but the link is out there though. If y'all want to come up here. Motion detected at the front door. My Alexa going crazy now. Somebody walking past my front door or something. But yeah, y'all can click the link if y'all disagree. Y'all want to argue, put y'all argument out there for Brian Norman Jr. Y'all can. I ain't trying to be here too long. I just was trying to figure it out with this StreamYard thing, see how it
Let,
work and all of that.
let me ask you this, as somebody who's picking Devin, me and you both. What do you think Brian's path to victory is?
I think Brian Norman got to punch his chance, man.
I mean,
But
aside from the
aside
puncher's
from
chance.
aside from that though, yeah, I think if Devin, a lot of people was saying that Devin Haney ain't right mentally, which I don't think that's the case. But if that was to be true, like Devin not really be okay mentally from that Ryan Garcia fight or whatnot. And what he did against Ramirez was, the effects of him not being right mentally. I
Yeah.
think that can be a way for Brian Norman Jr. to actually win the fight if he just jumped on Devin early. And I think that Devin, I was saying before you hopped up here that Devin needs to not listen to these fans that telling, you got fans telling him that he can't get on his bicycle or he can't hold or nothing like that if it get too hot, on the inside, what Brian Norman trying to do. I think in the beginning, if Brian Norman Jr. try to jump on Devin, he just come out there all hype and he's throwing hooks, he's trying to run after Devin, walk him down and all of that. I think Devin need to stay poised. He need to remain focused. And if you gotta tie up, you gotta tie up. If
Do
you
you
gotta
think?
get on your bicycle, you gotta get on your bicycle. If Devin don't do those things and he too busy listening to what these people saying, worried about them saying he a runner or worrying about them saying that he grab and tie people up too much, I think that could be a way that Brian Norman could win if Devin do the wrong thing when he get in trouble.
So let's say this. Let's say there's a chance that B Norm comes out guns blazing first round. Drop my phone, my fault, bro. Let's say he comes out guns blazing. I guess the test where Dev, not where his chin is, but see where Dev toughness is. Because I think a lot of people they discredit how tough Dev is because maybe his dad talks to him. Maybe he was raised, they say he's a silver spoon kid, so they kind of question his toughness, but you can't really question his toughness. But I would like to see if Brian comes out and jumps on him and see Devin's resistance. Not his punch resistance, but his ability to fight him off and make him back up.
Hey man, I
Like,
think I'm a strong believer of fighters needing to meet the other fighter in the middle of the ring and stand your ground, so to say.
yeah,
I think Devin need to give him something to think about. He need to
yeah,
at the beginning of the fight, Devin need to meet him in the middle of the round in the middle of the ring and control the distance, but I don't think Devin should come out, just on the back foot. I think that would be the wrong move. I think Devin need to meet him in the middle of the ring and put up some resistance because if you don't show him that got something for him to think about, you don't give him nothing to think about, then he gonna think he can do anything. And I think
yeah.
that's gonna make him try to get the momentum like that on
Well,
Devin. I
one,
think Devin need to meet him in the middle of the ring.
yeah, well, one thing too that I think gets overstated is a guy's punching power. Like we know Dev ain't known for like devastating one punch knockout power, even like a cumulative knockout power. Like Errol Spencer used to, he didn't knock you out one punch. He would accumulate damage and eventually get you out of there. But I mean,
But
even with
them
that being
jabs
said,
though,
nobody,
them
nobody
jabs, man,
well, I'm say I
the
don't care how soft the person hits. Nobody likes to get punched in the face. I got a 9-year-old daughter. I don't want her to punch me in the face a bunch of times. It's going,
exactly.
it's going to add up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They be talking about Devin Haney pillow fisted and all of that stuff, but when he using that stick, when he's sticking the jab out there, you never see these fighters just walking through that jab. They get punched in the face and they don't like it, so
Yeah,
they're not going to keep running. They're not going to be quick to keep running in. That's why I said I think Devin need to meet him in the middle of the ring and stick the jab out, early. Let him know like you ain't just going to walk up in here, bro. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I
And
think the early part of the fight, I think Brian. I'm not going to say he's going to dictate it, but I think his actions will kind of dictate the ebbs and flow of the fight, like how he comes out. I guess. I think that'll matter because I think Dev will have to adjust to him before he has to adjust to Dev. And I think once Dev does that, it's all systems go. I think Dev will be fine. But I do think, in that space, I think that Dev's gonna have to be the first one to adjust.
yeah, experience though. That's where that
Yeah.
experience gonna have to come into play
Like
and him
like
remaining focused.
like even with Floyd spent a good portion of his career adjusting to people mid fight more than they adjusted to him. Like he would, you would come out and do whatever you thought you had to do, your first ditch. And I think that's what separates them as well. I think that Brian Norman knows like this is the toughest has his career, so he might have to come out and do something emphatic. Once Devin weathers that storm, I think it's smooth sailing for him once he figures out what Norman wants to do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But I give Norman a good chance to win. I mean, like I said, I had it 60-40, 65-35, but 35 is a really good chance to win. So I mean,
35.
yeah, I think 35% is a decent chance. But I just give Dev more credit just because like I said his past experience. But all in all, like I said, I can't lament enough how much respect I got for both of these dudes. Like I hate the narratives. Like they try to discredit Devin so much that they'll tell you that he was forced to take this fight. Like
Oh
how are
yeah,
you
that's a crazy narrative.
yeah, how are you forced to take a fight that you asked for? No, he didn't ask for it. Turkey made him do it. Because Turkey's about to be done with him. I'm like, bro, y'all got to stop this seriously, man. Like, give the kid his credit. He shows up and he shows out. Like, he had one bad performance against Ryan, which wasn't really his fault. I mean, he played a role, and he'll admit that. As far as Ramirez, I think with the Ramirez fight, I think he was just protecting the rematch with Ryan. I think he was just trying to get to the rematch. Like, I ain't about to take no risk, get knocked out. I'm gonna win this fight, and I want my lick back. But overall, all in all, man, I'm just happy to see like young kids who don't have to do this. No, like we always talk about fights nobody asked for. Nobody asked for this fight, but sometimes the things you don't ask for are the best things you ever receive. So
Hey man, I ain't think nobody this fight wasn't on the radar. Ain't nobody think,
no,
you got a
heck
lot of
no.
haters out there and naysayers. They didn't think that Devin would fight Boots or him. So, I
Yeah,
think that's where that came from.
and it's crazy because they try to pin the narrative on Dev that he tried to frame Boots as a duck. No, he didn't. He offered there was a fight offered. Boots said yes, but only at this weight, and Devin said, "Well, no, because I've never fought it this way yet. Why would I fight it that way?" Okay, we move on. Oh, Devin didn't
Yeah,
really want to
and
fight him. Devin didn't want to fight him. Well, Devin addressed it and said, "Yeah, I was very interested."
yeah, and I
And
hear people were saying, why wouldn't Devin fight him at that catch weight? And my answer to that is that would be stupid for Devin to fight him at that catch weight. If Devin
yeah,
trying to move up to 147 and Boots got two of the belts, he's a unified champion. Devin want to get the belts. That's why he want to
yeah,
fight Boots. He don't
right,
want to
right,
fight
right,
Boots
right,
just to be
right.
fighting him. Like y'all
And,
tripping.
and people confuse, people mix their feelings towards a person with the actual reality of who that person is. Like just because you don't like Devin doesn't mean he's a PUSS. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to like him, but the same things that people credit Errol Spence for against Terrence Crawford is the same things they laugh at Devin about against Ryan. Oh, Errol, so tough. He kept getting up. Well, so did Dev, but y'all laugh at Dev. Y'all praise Errol for getting up. But it's the same scenario, other than one guy cheated and one guy didn't. So
Exactly. I was gonna say, and Bud wasn't on no Ostarine or nothing.
but they tried to put Bud on drugs and take Ryan off of drugs. So you know what I mean? Like they took Ryan off of drugs and put Bud on him. Even though one
Yeah.
tested and even though one popped positive and one didn't. So that's just the climate we live in, bro. Cause like, like I'm 39. You're a little older than me, so you remember more than I do. But I remember we had to have these conversations at the barbershop. We had to have these conversations, maybe even in high school. We talked about this stuff in the lunchroom. But now social media has turned boxing into like a disgusting place as far as like how fighters are treated or whatever. Like, cause back then, like I always reference Tito Trinidad and Oscar De La Hoya. That was one of the first fights that I really like. I don't gonna say really remember, but that's what I really, really got into boxing. And I just remember both of them dudes being like under 27 years old at the same time, and we just don't get that stuff anymore. And a lot of it is because I think social media has ruined like a lot of boxing matchups that could have happened. And
And there
it's
be a
just
lot of ducking too, though. Ducking.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But I don't remember all this ducking back in the day. I remember the number one guy fought the number two guy, or the champion fought the number three guy. Like it was never any of this is of any of this nonsense. Like now it's just like, man, dudes don't want to fight.
Amen.
I'm not fighting you because I don't like how you talk to me.
Hey man,
Right?
that's why I'm a strong believer in the belts matter, bro. The belts is the most important thing, man, and the ranking system because and they need to get rid of these super belts, man, and these franchise belts and stuff like that where they don't have to fight their mandatory,
You talking
you
about
know,
the duck belts?
yeah, the duck belts, man, because that mess up the way boxing go, man. It gives room for these people to say belts don't matter because you got these belts where people get these belts and they're the actual
Well,
champion,
that's why.
but they don't gotta follow the Muhammad Ali Act. They don't have to fight the top fighters in the ranking system. They don't have to fight their mandatories and stuff. And they got another belt, you know what I'm saying? That has to take care of those mandatories for them. Come on, man. And that belt right there is not even the real belt. People ain't looking at that as the real belt. They not looking at only the fanboys is looking at those secondary belts as real champions. Those championships too. That's the champ right there. No, it ain't, bro. You got a champion over him. He need to
Yeah,
fight that champion, consolidate the belt, and then we gotta I don't want to say undisputed because we got four different sanctioning bodies, but
yeah,
now it's undisputed on who the champion of that sanctioning body is, that WBC belt or WBA or whichever one. It shouldn't be multiple belts, man. But if we didn't have those.
Well, that's why we didn't get the. Can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, my bad.
That's
My Alexa was trying to mess up the live. But
no, you
yeah,
good.
yeah, what I was saying is if we didn't have those belts, then the ranking system would function properly. You would get people climbing the ranks to try to get a shot at fighting the champion, and then those mandatories would be those people that's up at the top of the ranking, and you won't really have people ducking and all of that stuff. You won't be able to because you got to fight your mandatory. And then with the multiple belts, I don't know what can solve it. As far as the WBC champion not wanting to fight the WBA champion and stuff like that, they need to figure it out with that. So that's why when they said they was changing the Muhammad Ali Act, I was thinking that maybe some good can come from it, because I know it's there to protect the fighters,
Yeah.
but it's some stuff in there that allows for fighters to not, for champions to not fight champions, man. They need to fix that part. So I don't know, man. What you think?
Yeah, I mean, my bad. I zoned out for a half second. I zoned out. My fault. I was listening to you, but I zoned out to like the last part. Don't kill me. I'm sitting here
You
trying to
heard the
pack. I'm
last
packing.
part. You heard the last part though, right? I was
Say
saying that I
it one
think
more
that
time.
the huh? You heard
No,
that?
say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I was saying that if they need to take those secondary belts out. But I think when I heard that they was making changes to the Muhammad Ali Act, I was thinking that there could be some good coming from that, because the way the Muhammad Ali Act is structured now is just to protect the fighters. And it's you got fighters you got multiple champions that don't want to fight each other, and it's no way to really make them fight each other. So I was thinking that a revision to the Muhammad Ali Act and put something in there where you know uh you have to have an undisputed champion or something. The WBA fighter has to fight the WBC fighter after a certain amount of fights,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
mandatory
What's up?
defenses or something like that. They could add something in like that and it'll make it better, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's actually valid. Yeah, that's a great point. I just with the Muhammad Ali Act, like a lot of people would say that the PBC was playing around with the Muhammad Ali Act for years, but certain people didn't really care about it
Absolutely.
from the PBC. I don't know enough about the Muhammad Ali Act to really speak on it too much. I really kind of got more into it over the last couple months when I heard people, crying about Turkey potentially doing away with it. But I just heard that they just trying to make some edits to it. I don't know that they were trying to actually get rid of it. I don't know about that, but
Yeah, yeah,
I
it's supposed to be some edits they make into it, but
but my
that's what I'm
problem,
saying. Like some good could come from it.
yeah,
If the things that are protecting the fighters are still in there, but the changes that they want to make is to make the sanctioning body champions have to fight each other after a certain amount of mandatories
yeah,
satisfied or something like that. I think it'll be for the better. But
yeah. Because Tank, I
most
mean, and
people
I,
worried about most
yeah,
people
that's
just worried about the fighters getting screwed over, saying that
yeah.
their rights or whatnot, things that's protecting them could be taken away. I
No, I
hope
think
that's
that's
not the case.
I think that's a great point too. I mean, um, because like you said, they unify. It definitely unifies the belts faster, and I think unifications in boxing are always a beautiful thing. And that's why a lot of people don't like what Virgil's dad said about Boots the other day. I don't like it because of all the back and forth that's been going on. But again, it's kind of
Wait,
what I've
wait, what? Who
been.
said about Boots?
Virgil Senior said that they're not interested in the Boots fight. They said that Boots hasn't done anything. Boots, you ain't see that clip yet?
Oh yeah, I saw that. He
Yeah,
ducking,
yeah.
bro. They
Yeah.
ducking.
But it's a duck I'm okay with for my own personal reasons because I think that Boots and Virgil is like the Spence Crawford of our generation, of this generation, not our generation, but of this one. And I think that something should be on the line. If it's not undisputed, it should be something. You know what I mean? It should be both of them should bring a belt to the table. You know what I mean? Like let's lose something here. Like let's lose something besides the O. Let's lose the O and the belt. So I don't love the idea that he said that, especially after all the back and forth all these years. But I'm also kind of happy it's not happening right now because I don't think it should happen right now.
Hey, shout out to Greg Hackett, man. You know what I'm saying? He down there. I see him down there in the chat, man. Y'all subscribe
Oh,
to his channel if y'all not subscribed already.
GH in the building.
Yeah, what up, Greg?
Greg, what's up, gang?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. I think
well, Greg, right on time. Then, like I said, I don't like I don't like that they're turning the fight down, but I think it's a good thing for right now, just for now,
hey,
just for now.
Greg, the link is out there. I don't really know how to pin it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying
Tell,
to figure
tell,
it out
tell,
with
tell
this,
Greg,
but
click the link and come get some smoke, man.
you said get some smoke.
Get some smoke, man.
Yeah, the link is out there, Greg. Let me see. I don't know how to hit, but let me see if I can put it back up there again
Hey, I'm
in
sitting
case
here
it's
trying to
not
figure out
there.
how I gained 5 pounds overnight. Probably because I ate a whole pack of Oreos at bedtime. My head tripping. My headphones up. They should be in the car. Hey, I ain't got no keys.
Facts, Greg. They ducking, man. They ducking. I think I put the
Yeah.
link out there. Let me see. Did I?
Nah, so I know Greg saying and stuff. So I get what Greg's saying. Like I ain't got no dispute to what Greg's saying. All I'm saying is that like they don't want the fight. You call they bluff. And as soon as they heard Boots was coming out, it's like, nah, we don't want that fight right now. He hasn't done anything. Well, Virgil never held a belt in his life.
That's duck talk, man. Yo, that's what I was saying, man. With this dude, Virgil Ortiz, everybody act like, people scared to fight him, but it seemed to me like he's scared to fight these champions. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You've been the interim champion multiple times. What you the interim champion warrior or something, man? He just keep getting
Yeah.
interim champions,
And
but then won't fight the champion. Like,
and
and
it's
they
crazy. And what's crazy, right, is that we have so many black content creation channels who don't talk about this. They don't say nothing about Virgil, just all willy nilly doing
hey
whatever he
man,
wants, ducking smoke. But
hey,
the time,
they trying to say they make up the excuse for Boots. They say, "Oh yeah, we hold them to that standard because Boots, we know he got talent." Well, they act like Virgil Ortiz got talent too, more enough for them to say that they think that Boots ducking him. But if you look at him at that same standard, then how Virgil Ortiz get to move up to the next weight class and fight somebody that don't really nobody know? You know what I'm saying?
so
Nobody don't really know him, and you're not fighting
man,
champions, bro.
look,
You
If I'm Team Ennis, I use this opportunity to pivot off Ortiz, and let him look bad right now, and go get a belt, right? So when you revisit the Virgil conversation, like, okay, we want to fight now, and we got a belt, so now we have something that you want, that you particularly may want. So what's up now? Like, all right, cool. But like I said, I don't want the fight to happen right now anyway. I think, like I said, I think that they should be fighting for something. Yo, can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I went
Oh
on
yeah,
mute,
my fault, my
mute for
fault.
a
Nah,
second.
yeah, I'm walking outside. I didn't know if you can still hear me.
Yeah, Greg Hackett said he's Smokey the Bear.
No, Greg, folks, man. I don't want no smoke, Greg. I don't want no smoke.
Yeah, I wanted to hear what Greg got to say about it, man, because I know
Hey,
what I
Greg,
think
click this
about it
link, man. I
is
know
I
you
think
ain't
they
doing it on
ducking,
this
man.
Saturday afternoon. I know you in the crib with your feet up, man. Come click this link, man. Chop it up with us.
Man, when I saw that clip, man, I thought it was duck talk, man.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. There you go. G Money, what's up, gang?
What's
Greg,
up,
what's
God?
up,
How y'all
bro?
What's up,
feeling?
Brody? How you?
Salute to y'all, man. Hope things, going well
Can't complain, man. About to head to the gym, get these miles in.
for sure.
Yeah, Greg, what you thought about that when you saw that clip, man? What they was talking about, man? Senior.
You talking about Virgil Pop?
Yeah, Virgil Pop, man, and all that duck talk. That's what I call it, man.
I
You
just
know, Greg about to get in the third degree.
I just think if you going to at least entertain it, then really entertain it. Like give it, you know what I mean? Give it a shot for it to happen and see what you can negotiate. If not, you know what I mean, then don't even waste people time talking about it because I feel like that's just that it's turning into like the high school lunchroom type shit.
Yeah.
You know,
We-
it's crazy now though because when Eddie and Boots say, "Yeah, we pulling up to your joint. We pulling up to say what's up." Oh, we don't want that fight. Like nigga, what? What are we doing here? Y'all playing game now. Y'all playing games now. Y'all playing games.
And it's definitely a big fight. So it's not. I mean, I understand what you were saying earlier about at least let it be for something. I get that too, but at the same time, it is a big fight.
Right. He was talking. Man, people be talking so much about it, man. And they talking about Boots ducking them and all of that. So,
Yeah, I think
that's
I
why
think
that's
it's
the
a
only reason why I wouldn't mind for it to happen now, early.
I think it's a big fight for sure, but I think for both of their financial interests, it could be a lot bigger fight. Bigger fight for their financial interests for their career. Like, why are we gonna fight for 5 million apiece right now when we could both get a belt and fight for 10 million apiece? You know what I mean? So I look at it in that aspect. Like, I want to see both of them because I like both fighters. I like Virgil a lot. I think Virgil a real cool, down to earth boy. You see him on Twitter, he be engaging with people and chopping it up with everybody, and I like guys like that. So, for both of their interests, if one of them got to lose, I mean, let's get paid for it, and let's get a belt. You know what I mean? Let's collect the extra belt and let's get paid.
But no, I definitely understand that. My thing is say that though. Just say that.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure. Don't downplay his resume when he got. I think their resumes are about equal to each other, but Boots has done more on the title side. A lot
Right,
more, obviously, because Virgil ain't done nothing as far as being a champion. You can't tell a champion that he ain't done enough when you never been one.
right.
That's crazy talk.
Real shit.
Yeah, that's why I call it duck talk, man. I mean, he talking all that craziness, and you've been the interim champion multiple times, but you ain't never fought for a belt tonight.
Well, I think that that's something that the responsibility of the black content creation, like the black content creator, like we know Clay gonna talk about it, we know people like that, but the people who generally don't talk about this stuff, I think it's time to start talking about what Virgil Pop said. Like, yeah, y'all did all that woofing, y'all talked all that crazy stuff. Now we here, we at the doorstep, and it's we cool. Like, wait, what are we doing? Y'all been talking greasy about me for the last year. Now I'm here. What's up?
Right.
That's
And then and
crazy,
then
man.
and this my thing. This my thing for real, for real. If y'all said if y'all said y'all sent offers and Boost didn't take the offer, or if y'all said y'all wanted to fight, then what changes?
Yeah, he didn't do less since then.
Yeah.
He hasn't done less. I mean, I didn't love the Lima fight. You know what I mean? Like, for obvious reasons, nobody really loved the Lima fight. I think he got his feet wet. But outside of that, I saw Mr. Bosey, Greg. I saw him about a month ago, just before the Lima fight, and Shop right up Cheltenham. Him and his wife, and we talked for like 2-3 minutes. He a gentleman. He one of my favorite people to talk to. And he said, I asked him what was next after Lima. He said, "Oh man, it's full speed ahead." And I took that as, it's up for everybody. And I think that this first stop after Lima being Virgil, what Mr. Bosey said is the truth. Now y'all looking crazy on the other side because he said he was stepping, and here y'all go, and now y'all making excuses.
Real
It's
shit.
crazy to me, bro. That shit crazy to me, man. And me and Mill talk all the time, Greg. Me and Mill always talk, and I keep it a buck. Like, I'm from Philly, you know what I'm saying? So like, it pains me to say, all right, this is what I think about Boots right now. I think Boots' career, I think his image took a hit, and I think you know that. You see what's going on as far as public, like, is the public perception of Boots is taking a hit. He went from like the hunter to a lot of ways people saying he's the hunted now. I don't particularly think that he's the hunted, but I think now that people seem like they want to fight him a little more, and the motion on Eddie and Boots side hasn't really taken off the way that it should have in regards to those call outs. But I think the Virgil turning him down for what it's worth is a step in the right direction, because now the pressure is off of Boots and it's on these other dudes
Right.
to really show what y'all about now. Like, y'all been calling me out, y'all been talking crazy. I'm here now. I want to fight. What's up? Oh, you ain't doing enough. All right, cool, Virgil, you out the way now. Now who next? Who next with the excuse? And he got to flip the tide on these conversations again, whether it be in the ring or whether they duck in interviews. But he got to flip the tide on these conversations, and I think he can. I think he'd be the last man standing at 54 and 60 in the next 3-4 years. So I ain't got no issues with his skills or talent. I just want to see him really start putting his fist in these dudes' mouth because they playing with his name. I don't like it.
Yeah, but they I mean either way they gotta get in there. That's the only way to do it. This shit is crazy.
I mean, if they not gonna get in there, then you make them look crazy when they talking on that microphone. Turn them into a duck on that microphone and move along.
Yeah.
I mean, but from what they were saying though, they already talking the fight down. So
Yeah. Greg, let me ask you this, because me and Mill talk about it a lot. Do you think it would serve Boots better in his career, like as far as his own promoter, to be more vocal and I guess stand up for his own name when people be talking crazy about him? Because Boots don't talk. Boots pretty much stay to himself, save for the sporadic interview with Mill or whatever. You think Mill should be more vocal? Not Mill. Boots should be more vocal in his own time.
I honestly don't think he should because I think what happens is when guys start being more vocal, they start paying attention more to that part where they want to start doing interviews all over the world. They start talking to any and everybody and they start saying anything. You know what I mean? Because after a while it gets boring. So you try to start saying shit, and what happens is you directing your focus to the wrong thing. The reason it's the wrong thing for him is because he a fighter, and at the end of the day, you got to fight. Nobody don't give a fuck about you talking if you can't fight. So I think as long as he beating on people, he'll be cool. What the problem is, people take what works for one guy and they want that from another guy, but that's
Right.
not who he is naturally. You know what I mean? If that's not who you are naturally, then that means everything you're going to say
It's
is
forced.
synthetic anyway.
It's
You know what I'm
forced.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah. For
It
sure.
ain't,
For sure.
yeah, it ain't real. It's not how you really feel because that's not who you are. You know what I mean? He not the guy that just be running his mouth. So that's, you know what I mean? At some point it's
Right.
gonna get corny. And then everybody gonna be like, well, look, he boots corny anyway. The shit he be saying be corny because he not a talker. He want to get in there and fight. So I don't really care if he say anything. You know what I mean? To be
So
honest.
what's from your perspective, Greg? What's next for Boots? Just from your perspective, not what you know or what somebody told you, just what you think.
I mean, I think it's gonna be
A boss,
but he might be fighting what's his
Xander, right?
Xander. Yeah, he
Yeah.
might be fighting Xander. So I mean I would take I don't know, man. It's a lot of guys out there. I don't know,
I
to be
like to see him
honest.
and Murtazalia, man. I think that's a real big
Yeah,
fight.
that's the fight I want too, but he about to
Yeah.
fight Josh Kelly.
So another fight that I really, really love for Boots above a title fight is Charlo. I don't know where the money gonna come from, but I would love to see him in Charlo because I think that aside from a title fight, I think Boots needs a big name. I said it's either got to be a title fight or a really big name, and I think if it's not gonna be for a belt, I think Charlo fits the bill.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I said that years ago. I said Charlo would be the guy at 54 because, you know what I mean, to be honest, he the most solid 54 in the world to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would love that fight. But when
We we gotta see
everybody,
how he look when he come back down.
yeah, that's the thing. Everybody asking for all types of money
I
too.
mean, I
So
mean but I think that's the fight that Turkey would pay for, right? People say that Charlo wanted 10 million. I think Turkey would find 10 million for Charlo to fight Boots.
but this is the thing we gotta take into consideration. Turkey don't know nothing about boxing. He's being advised like anybody else would that's just now getting into the sport. So if somebody play hater and be like, nah, don't give him that money. You know what I'm saying? He not gonna
Yeah,
do it. Somebody would have to persuade him to give him that money.
I
Cause he
mean,
don't, cause he don't, cause
yeah,
what I'm saying is he don't know Charlo. He only know what he see. So here's the thing. So imagine being a guy just getting ready to throw your money into something. You're gonna want to know where the money, where I should throw the money. You know what I'm saying? As far as Turkey go, when he got in the game, Charlo wasn't really, you know what I mean? Charlo fought Canelo, and then that was it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So Turkey don't really know Charlo. Turkey don't know what Charlo mean to the 154-pound
I
division
mean,
and what
I'm
he mean
sure.
to
I'm
boxing.
sure he's had. I'm sure since we've been, since that conversation started, I'm sure there's been some conversations around Charlo, and I think that anybody with half a brain know that Charlo. I don't like the dude at all. I can't stand them dudes. But I think that, as far as on a boxing tip go, them boys like they step. Like Charlo always been known to step. The only time he didn't step was against Canelo, which I don't understand why. Because I thought we all know he could have did better than that. Because he's a better fighter than he showed that night. But he lost to Tony Harrison, come back, knock him out. He had a draw with Castano, even though I think he lost the first Castano fight. He came back, knocked him out. He's undisputed champion. He not was that him that knocked Lubin out? Or was that his brother?
He not moving
He
out.
He
knocked
knocked
Lubin
Lubin
out.
out.
His brother knocked Rosario out, right?
No, it was him too.
It was him
No, it's
too.
him.
God
He
damn.
knocked them both out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Jamel.
I
Hey,
say
we
all
got
that to
Ray Davis
say,
in the building.
Ray
Salute,
Money,
Ray.
what's up, Ray? I
What's the
just say
deal?
all
Peace,
that.
peace.
I say all that to say the Charlo name is not just a name. I think it's a brand,
Yeah,
and I
we
think
know that
that
though.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
I
I
mean,
think that that's a fight that they have interest in. I think they could sell that fight to Turkey, like verbally, like yo, make that happen. That's a good one.
yeah, I think so too. But the thing is, you know, what I mean, we gotta see how they feel. And then another thing is, when Turkey was spending the big money, he want guys to come to Saudi. I don't think I don't think Boots is interested in going to Saudi.
I mean, if you about to make ten
Hey,
million dollars, you got to jump on that flight, baby.
I mean, for
y'all
sure.
y'all mentioned Lubin. I think it's a chance that Virgil might not even make it past Lubin to fight Boots, man. What y'all think about that? Like,
Then all the Wolf and Lubin
That.
been doing about Boots. Lubin need to step up to the plate and give him that rumble. You've been talking. Now fight him.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
I
that's
think. I think.
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
What up? Salute, y'all. I think
What's
that
up,
do
bro?
Nah.
happen. I think. I mean, I got Virgil and, you know what I mean, as a boxing content creator, you know what I mean, or sharing a platform with a couple of people, and watching boxing. I think Virgil shows us on paper that he's the better fighter due to pressure, and Lubin always falling for those type of fights. But Lubin being the bigger fighter in this fight and the more slick fighter, if he can hold his own on the outside and seeing the struggle that happened early on with the Majimov fight, yeah, we might see Lubin whip Virgil, you know what, and then not only get there, he will take the fight with Boots, and that would be the big fight for Boots. And I think that's what we're going to see. And then we got Boots sitting there with two interim titles, with a choice. Does he take Fedora or does he move the other route? Um, that's how I see it playing out. And I think Virgil will try to get in there at that point if he loses, but I think it's too late, too little, too late at that point. As far as Charlo needs to show me something. Not because of the Canelo fight, but because of the time off. I think he is a big fight for Boots. And I always say this, and I'm glad Greg brought him up. I was watching the show last night, Greg, or 2 nights ago, my bad. And
Appreciate you.
I heard you talking to the Queens, and I'm like, yo, you're on to something because Charlo never lost his belts. He is still the lineal champion there. In my opinion, he is still the dude that was literally stripped of his titles for going to chase greatness. So is he that guy? Yes. I think he's the guy to beat in the division because no one beat him. I think besides Tony Harrison. So I think he just needs to step up, get a nice clean fight in, and then go back and reclaim what's his. Even if he steps in and just goes for one of his titles that he has on hold, that works too. And then grab that Boots fight because that's what people want to see. That will bring the money to the division. It's already the toughest division in boxing, hands down. So it makes sense.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I don't think Lubin. I think there's an agenda to make Boots look dry as possible, and all the guys that we respect or we call a name. I think it's an agenda to not get in the ring with him. To be honest,
Mm, mm,
Yeah, but that's Greg. That's where I come in and say maybe I wish Boots was a little more vocal about it. Like, like maybe go live on Instagram one day just for like 10 minutes and just take a few questions from his comments section and talk to a couple people. And when people ask these questions, he could say like, man, I want Virgil next. I want this person next. I'm not saying go out there and talk crazy. Like I heard when Bozy said about Bud, we're not going to call him out his name to get a fight. We ain't never had to do that before. But I'm saying just be more interactive with your fans and kind of steer your own narrative as opposed to letting people steer narratives about you that are negative. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where Boots might come up short, and maybe even his team a little bit, where they allow these narratives just to be presented and pushed with no pushback. I don't think that's fair to him.
yeah, it's it's
mm.
it's I get that too, but it's so many angles about this shit, bro. You gotta remember, Boots from Philadelphia. Philadelphia, I don't care what nobody say, I don't care what nobody think. The baddest motherfuckers in the world come from Philly because of the circumstances
Nah,
and
hands down.
because you're not gonna get this much boxing anywhere else in the world in one city. You're not gonna get this much boxing. So because they call Philadelphia the Mecca of boxing or the toughest, however they want to say it, they don't want to give us something that we really produce shit like this like every 5 years. Like every 5 years we got a guy that's nasty. So it's like it's just it's a deep thing, man. They not trying to just give him what he deserves because they tired of Philadelphia. I think they tired of Philadelphia first of all, to be honest. You know what I'm
Let me ask
saying?
you this, Greg. Let me ask you this: do you think that it would be a different scenario for Boots had he signed with Showtime and the PBC? You think that the perception of him might be a little different, or the narrative around him might be a little different?
I think partially it would be I think it would be a little bit different because, you know what I'm saying, those guys they had the hand on boxing at the time.
Yeah,
Now you see things changing. But then the thing is, the guys who still have the fighters that's on contract like at PBC and Top Rank and guys like that, they can still keep their guys away from Boots. So
yeah.
that's why Eddie's trying to get into signing whoever wins out of Josh Kelly and Murder Tazali and things like that. He trying to get into shit like that because these guys are going to try to keep these fighters away from as much. See, this is the thing. We saying 10 million right now for Charlo, but right, if they offer the 10 million, what does the brain tell you? Shit, if they offer 10, we can get 20.
Yeah.
They gonna keep raising the fucking bar, bro. They gonna keep doing that because you could clearly see this guy is nasty, and they just don't want him to have it because he came out of
Yep.
nowhere. You know what I mean? But he didn't. He didn't, but he did. So he wasn't in the plans. So because he wasn't in the plans, we're gonna make it hard as possible. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the politics, man. It's a dirty game. Because I know if Boots was with the PBC, I can't say that the narrative would be the same. But I don't think all these PBC dudes will be
Well,
talking down about him the way they are either, though.
Yeah.
nah. Well, let's straight and clear that up. He was with Showbox. He wasn't with PBC. He was
I'm
never with
saying if he
PBC.
signed with
He
it, I'm
did.
saying if he signed
He
with the
fought. Yeah.
PBC.
If he now he fought with him. I mean, signed with him. This is what I see. I kind of like see it a little differently. I think that he does get some of the fights. I think he fights on some of the big cards. He fights on the card with Benavidez, and he signs on the card with uh, uh or Javante Davis at the time. I don't think we see many fights with him because the fact that he always wanted to be active, and that's the reason why he left that whole side of the street because of activity. He always was looking for fights, one fight a year, slow down his progress. I think they would have had the issues with trying to force him to move up before he got those title shots, before he was able to unify. They would have tried to force him up faster. He'd have been at 154 and he wouldn't have liked it. He wouldn't have wanted to be there because he wanted to win the title. His whole goal was to win a title. Even though he already received one, he wanted to win one. And I think that right there says that wherever he is or wherever he would have been totally a different point with Boots Ennis. I think Boots Ennis always wanted that undisputed at 147, but because he outgrew the division, you know what I mean, unified was satisfying. So when he moved because he needed to move and it was time for him to move. When he was there and the PBC couldn't get those fights at 147 because you knew a lot of stuff was scattered around the different promotional companies, it would have been hard for him to move. And like I said, that force would have happened, and he probably wouldn't have been satisfied with that. And he would probably been put on the shelf like most of these cats that's over there. I mean, look at Jesus Ramos. He had one or two fights since Earl and them left the division and been at 154. Now he's at 160 trying to fight. So we
Well,
know stars over there don't really get to shine.
well, the one thing I will say about the PBC is that I think when they make their mind up that they have a star, then they'll push that star. Like they pushed Arrow, they pushed Tank, they pushed Deontay. I don't think that it would have been any different with Boots, that they would have tried to push him. I don't know if the fights would have materialized, but I think they would have tried to put all their eggs in that basket. It would have been a wise decision to make. But
Would
I
have,
don't
but
think that
look,
I don't think he would have got shelved with the PBC. I think there's a
but look,
chance, but I don't think he would have.
I didn't say he could shot. I said he'd been on the undercard of Tank or to keep him busy. He'd been had to be on Tank's undercard. He would have to been on what's the name's undercard Benavidez. And you can see where Benavidez then moved on to because he understands himself. Like one, they don't have the bread to really keep facilitating these big fights, and two, you know what I mean, that pay per view model is dying. And without excitement, you're not getting these fights. You're not getting the same things that they used to. And this is no knock to the PBC. I think Al Heyman is a great let me use advisor. Let's use the right word here. I don't want to throw no shade, but I think he's a great advisor. He does things right. He gets guys paid, but at what cost? You know what I mean? The networks are like not really willing to deal
The
with him
the the,
anymore,
the, the
and that
cost the
makes it
cost of
hard.
activity.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
y'all,
You
y'all
see what I'm
talking
saying?
about Boots though, right? I don't think
Yeah, we talking about Boots. I'm talking about Boots.
Was Boots ever with the PBC? I thought he just had
No,
No,
the
he was in the
no,
deal
PBC
with
no.
adjacent.
Showtime or
Not
whatnot.
not quite though.
Yeah, I
He
mentioned that.
his deal was exclusively with Espinosa.
Yeah.
He was signed. He signed something with Espinosa or
Yeah,
no?
he was. Yeah, he was. That's why the fight with Bud didn't make sense to go to Black Prime because Black Prime would have owned the rights to the fight, but you have a promotional production deal with Showtime. So if you have a production deal with Showtime, it made no sense to go fight on BLK Prime.
Hey, I already know, man. I was arguing that with somebody not too long ago the other night. You know
Hmm.
the fact that Bud, he was trying to say that Boots had his chance to fight him, but the way it was presented wasn't right. So he really didn't have a chance to fight him. If he, that if he's with Showtime and they trying to put on a fight on BLK Prime, and Bozy tell them that they gotta go, they gotta clear with Steven Espinosa and Showtime, and they uh kill the fight. Then how Boots turned it down. Boots ain't had no chance to fight him because he was on Showtime.
Yeah.
And what
Hmm.
Boots did that I think was the right move, they try to Bud try to say that because Boots was the mandatory. Well, Boots was in line. He said Boots went the other route, but no, I think Boots was like number 2 in that ranking, and he went the he went the IBF route, which was the correct route because then that made whoever win that fight between Bud and Earl inherit that mandatory, and that's why Boots ended up getting. I mean, that's why Bud ended up getting stripped. At the after he beat
Well,
Earl.
yeah, you left a few things out, which is cool. You know what I mean? Because remember, he had to fight Custio Clayton to get in line for that interim belt, and then after he did that, he went for a couple of fights. I think it was Karen and for Roman Villa, and that solidified him as the interim champion for the IBF, which gave him that belt because he had to fight for those. Um,
But but
Before
the
that,
but the
if
point
he
I
was
was
staying,
saying though,
well,
Bud was saying
I
him
know,
leaving and going that route
yeah,
took him out of the
but
way of being. But no, that really solidified him getting
yeah,
the
I
chance,
got
getting
you.
shot.
No, I got you. I got you. I was getting there. So, he wasn't, yeah, like you said, he wasn't that top guy, right? So you had Roman Villa, who was ahead of him, as well as I'm not Roman Villa, excuse me, Roche, right? Alexis Roche was ahead of him, and so was Virgil Ortiz. When Virgil Ortiz decided to abandon ship and he decided to move on, Roche became that number one guy anyway. Booth was behind him. So either way, he would have still been in line, even though they could offer him the fight because he's a top contender in the division. He still would have had that opportunity. But just let you know, like his worth, his situation was a lot of people did not want to fight him in that division. He was that guy. Nobody wanted to be the risk. I mean, wanted that reward for that risk. Nobody. And that's what I think Greg was saying. Like it was hard for him to get all these fights because when you're that high risk, low reward, nobody was willing to pay you. Including Bud. I mean, they knew what it was. And I'm not saying Bud didn't or he did offer or whatever, but they probably did the same thing that has come out of the Eddie Hearn camp, right? Certain fighters just weren't panned out to fight Boots. So why pay this guy if you're not a champion? Why pay this guy millions and millions of dollars when you're only worth 500,000? You're only worth 700,000, but yet you want 2 million. Was it Brandon or wanted like 2 or 3 million? I get Brian Norman's case. He was a champion, but at the same time, what have you done for me lately? And that's how they had seen it. So in Boots' case is, yeah, you were worth probably some bread. You see a big fight, but what have you done for me lately? What have you done where you're globally known, where we can put you out here and give you this great bag, and this guy this great bag to get you all a good fight, whether it be Bud, Earl, whoever. Because Earl said he wasn't afraid of him; he wanted to fight him. Don't forget that interview where he did say that, but he said he's about to move out of the division anyway because he's overgrown it if he don't get the Bud fight. So we have to be understanding to that as well. There's a lot of things that took place during that time, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I definitely think that that would have been a harder fight for Bud, than Earl was. And I think Bud knew that too. And at that point, when Bud had that chance to fight Boots, when they stripped Bud and Boots had the IBF and he was at 147, and Bud was talking about going to 154, I think that Bud knew that Boots was trouble, and that's why he wanted to fight Canelo. So I think if it was a high risk for him to go, even though it was for undisputed, it would have been undisputed, man. If he'd have went back and fought Boots and to try to get that IBF belt back, and he had all the other belts, it would have been another undisputed, under his belt, But I think that he knew that that was a high risk because if he lose the Boots, then that probably mess up his chance to fight Canelo. So I think that's why he made the choice. I understand why he made the choice, but I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I still put an asterisk next to that. A duck, bro.
yeah. Hindsight's 2020, right? Now that we know some of that information,
It,
but at the same time, was it too high risk? I'm not taking nothing away from Boots at all, but I just think that Bud is a special fighter. I think Boots is an even more special fighter. I think he's it's just competition has shined away from him, man. So we don't really know. I mean, it's almost like a mystery what happened in that Bud fight, because we seen Bud step up in certain fights and against the guys that we thought were the best and make them look average. I think Boots has done that, to say the least, with guys of less caliber, and they just don't look like nothing. I mean, everybody has a number, right? And Karen just happened to have that number, and I have to tip my hat to Karen for preparing for the Boots fights, both of them, and just knowing what to do. We just, you know, what I mean, sometimes you just hit that rock in the road, and it become that hard place. So we have to understand that. But as far as everybody else, Boots never looked to be any way, shape, or form outside of a comfort zone with any other fighter. And I think Boots has always shown it to us as a boxing fan. I've always watched that. Um, but we have to look at it as, you know, the timing is just wasn't right. These guys were already in their heydays, and I don't want to say that in a rude way, but they're already on their way out, man. These guys are already up in the mid 30s, and they're pushing up. They don't want to take a chance on taking on a young bull like that. That's very dangerous. And I get what you're saying, because you're saying like I mean, he should have tried to get that fight a little harder with Bud, but Bud knew what it was, man. And he just is like, yo, why am I going to risk all this? And
No,
like you
I'm not.
said,
I'm not
he
saying
got
that. I'm
more.
not
No, no,
saying.
you saying
I'm
for the
not saying
reward
he
for
should have. I'm not saying he should have tried harder to get that fight with Bud. I'm saying Bud,
the
didn't want to fight him. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Bud knew that that was a
I
high
don't
risk. And so that's why
I
Bud chose to go to 154 rather than to fight Boots. It was one fight to
right.
undisputed, man. I don't understand that.
I
Me
I
being a person that think that
right.
the belts matter, undisputed is that's like the Super
Okay.
Bowl of getting the belts, bro. And so you
Yeah,
could have had a chance
yeah,
to have another time undisputed added just from one fight. So if you really
but
thought that you can easily beat that guy, that's an undisputed right there for one fight. Which
okay.
instead of choosing it, but I mean it's another
Let me
accolade
see.
in being a champion at another weight division too.
Right,
Another
right.
division champion. But I think that undisputed is probably more, even though it's the same weight class, it still counts as an undisputed, bro. That's all I'm saying. I'm
Um,
not saying
I
Boots
think
needed to
it
do
does and
more.
it
I'm
doesn't.
saying Bud needed to do more if he
Let me
wanted
tell
that.
you.
But I just don't think that Bud wanted that.
So far, let me tell you what happens, right? So does it really count though? Because I'm gonna keep something in perspective when I
Hell
bring that
yeah, it
question
count,
up.
bro.
Hold on,
Don't
hold on. Let me bring you this question real quick. Because when you talk about Usalander, Usyk, and you talk about Canelo winning the titles back in the division, do we even talk to them about being 2-time or 3-time undisputed? Not really. We're not even giving them the accolades, right?
Yes, we
Because
did
Usyk,
give him that accolade,
no,
bro. What you talking about?
no, no. What I'm saying is we don't give them as a person that went out and got all the belts, or a person that beat somebody that had all the belts. We're looking at it as somebody that just went and reclaimed something they already had. They never lost. It was taken away from them. They just gathered their belts back.
But we know it wasn't going to be looking the same way if he would have went and fought Boots, man, because everybody already knew Boots was the goods, bro. Everybody knew
I
Boots was the
agree.
one. Yeah, I'm saying that
Everybody wanted that fight.
if anybody after Earl, if it was anybody, everybody was looking at Boots like he would be the
Mm.
one to give Bud, maybe a loss. So, we ain't know what would happen. But that was the fight everybody wanted at
Yeah,
that time. So it
yeah.
definitely wasn't going to look the same as Canelo beating, somebody that nobody really cared about. You know what I'm saying? To reclaim undisputed.
I,
It was going
I
to look
think.
different. It wasn't going to look like that.
Well, I still think it's the same thing. Dubois had the belt, right? That was supposed to be a fight that everybody looked forward to. But again, I mean, people really go around and say that Usyk's a 2-time heavyweight undisputed champion. You don't really hear it much in his title. They just call him
Hey,
undisputed champion. But go
hey,
ahead.
hey, hold,
I'm gonna chill out. Greg. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
Greg, you had something to say, Greg, about that?
I mean, I think it all just come down to the ass whooping, man. But if it's
Yeah.
the ass whoop- if it's if it's the ass whooping I could survive, then I'll fight the guy. But if it's some shit where it's gonna change my life, then I'm gonna wait it out and I'm gonna try to get as much as I can. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, I got somebody in the back, man. I don't know who this person is though. D Calico. Do anybody know who that is?
Nope. Make him show his face, bro.
Yeah, that's all. That's what I got to do, people.
Yo, if you can hear me, D Calico, show you to put your camera on real quick so I can see you, and then I'll put you up.
Yeah.
I ain't seeing nothing but black.
Yeah, he playing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
I seen. All right, yo, what's the deal?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm the same person on this picture right here, man. Real talk. What's going on there?
Peace.
Yeah, ain't nothing, man. What you got to add?
I mean, y'all still talking about boots?
I mean, yeah, we talking about Boots. What's up?
I mean, it's all good. I mean, I like boots. I guess really, I'm not the biggest Crawford fan, so people don't really like my opinion. But I feel like he a better version of Crawford. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
a lot of people think that. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, I mean the same people that love Crawford should definitely love Boots, but for some reason they don't. And they both they both got the same almost path. Bud started at a smaller weight class, so he got to get a little accomplishments on his belt, but he ain't he didn't fight great opponents. You feel me? Now, out of all people that don't have a great resume, I look at Boots a little different because I don't think people understand how a boogeyman really works. You feel me? If you really the boogeyman, then you know what I'm saying. You're not finna get no great resume. You know what I'm saying? People don't want the smoke.
Mm.
It just is what it is. But people trying to act like it's the normal situation where a guy doesn't have a resume. But
Hey man, how I look at that, what you said, man. The same thing Bud went through, man. Everybody was saying Bud ain't really fight nobody. He ain't do enough. All the say was singing the same song and everything until Bud had to get to the point where he at now, and so now he getting a little bit more respect, and so now Boots is getting all of that same stuff, man. People talking about he ain't really fighting nobody, talking about his resume and all of that, and Boots can't help it if he make his opponents look a certain way, bro. Bud was doing the same thing. He was beating people easy. Each person people thought that was going to be his hardest fight. It seemed like he made it look easy, like the person didn't belong in there with him. And Boots do that a lot, and I think that's why, that's one of the reasons why people so quick to discredit Boots, man. And you just got a lot of haters out there, man. That's all.
yeah, put it like this, like your boy Bud will win, but it don't be clean like that.
Well, I ain't really trying to discredit Bud.
You
You know what
know,
I'm saying? Bud
I
did
know.
his thing, man. So,
Yeah,
I
Bud
think,
nasty.
Lately, I guess, you know.
No, I mean, he is one of the best fighters in the world. I mean, if not the best, he is. Like,
Well,
no
that
matter
just
how,
showed the state of boxing. The state of boxing is like we already know
y-
what it is.
yeah, but even if you say the state of boxing, these are still men that we talking about. And the way
But
he,
nobody give my boy Wilder no credit like that though.
because Wilder not showing the same skill set. Wilder just knocking people out. It's more than knockouts. And I mean, if the fight go the distance, are you gonna be able to
Bro,
adjust?
if we was
Adjust?
just talking about pure skills, then Boots would be more
But you
you
gotta
know,
slow down. But you gotta
acclaimed.
slow down. You gotta slow down. You said nobody talking about Wilder like that. Wilder was a freak of nature when it come to height, speed, and all of that, and he can punch. But when it come to skills, he just didn't have it. So guys would catch up to him. With Bud, you might see the power, but you think the skills not there. But then that's why you can't get to him. You know what I'm
yo,
saying?
look,
It's
look
a
at this
difference.
guy, man. Look at this guy right here. Why would you put that on your dead sister, bro? Like, I don't understand, man. But go ahead, y'all.
Yeah, that was wild as shit, man. Don't do that, man. Don't even play like that. You know what I mean? That's your folks. And Norman is just, Norman is a child. He's still a kid. You know what I mean? We about to see if he become a teenager tonight. I mean, well, on the
Yeah,
22nd.
yeah, 27.
Hey, Greg, how you see that fight playing out? Because I think Devin gonna beat him, man. I think Devin gonna cook him. I think people I don't want to say that Brian Norman is a hype job or nothing like that, but I think he overhyped. I think just because of that knockout that he got on Jen Sasaki, everybody think that everybody else that he fight is just going to be in front of him like that, like he's going to be able to recreate that or something. I don't understand, man. He did that in one fight,
Hey, hey,
and he's fighting somebody that's way different than Jin Sasaki, man. Devin is not going to be standing there in front of him for him to just uh knock him out like that. I don't think so, man. I never saw Devin foot planted like that, just standing in front of somebody and slugging it out with him like that. That wouldn't be smart at all. And I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think, listen, man, I think Norman is a good fighter as far as his condition. I mean, not conditioning, but his training, his mentality, and the punch. We don't know how big it is just yet because the guys he punched out was guys he's supposed to punch out. Those are guys that's going to get punched out. That's why they went out the way they did. What we do know about Devin Haney, he's a world class athlete. He may not be the best skilled fighter 100%, but he's in the high percentile of like 88%. You know what I mean? 90%. He's up there. You know what I mean? We know his condition is top tier because for a guy to get put down 3 times and continue to fight, your conditioning have to be there. You got to be more than just tough. You know what I mean? So when I just think of the combination of the two athletes, and I look at Norman, and Norman is a rough, tough guy, and he have to have his way in order to win. Devin Haney can win in multiple ways, and I think the biggest mistake being made about Devin Haney is they keep saying he can't punch. Maybe he doesn't hit hard, but he's still a man. So because he's a man, if he hits you in the right spot, you're gonna feel it. Especially because Norman has shown us that he can go down. I think Norman is tough. I do think he's tough. I do think he can punch a little bit, but I don't think he the monster that he trying to portray. I think that's the thing with we got the people listening. Let's keep them listening. But I think on the 22nd, he will understand after that what world class boxing is. I be wrong? Yeah, I could be wrong. But the thing is, that's just my opinion. I just think Devin Haney is the more well-rounded fighter.
Definitely.
Hey man, I was just saying that earlier too, man. Everybody talk, they calling Devin pillow fisted and all of that. But Devin sticking that jab out in a fighter face, man. We never see those fighters just keep walking and walking through his punches. And after the fight, we've seen multiple fighters say, "Oh yeah, he punched harder than I expected." Than I thought. Because you fell for the hype of all of these haters out here calling them pillow fisted and whatnot, and all of this other stuff that they saying about Devin, like he can't punch. But we see him move up to 140 and and hurt Regis. You had people mad at Devin for not stopping Regis because he was clearly hurt.
Mhm.
He caught, I think he hurt Regis multiple 2 times in that fight that I
At least,
remember.
yep.
And then we got to take into consideration, like you said, the fact that Devin Haney was moving up in weight to 140, but even though he moved up to 140, the very next fight he was too big for the weight class. You know what I'm saying? He was Drainos again. He looked drained when he was fighting Brian Garcia. And so now him moving up again to 147, we got to think that he might be a little more comfortable than there, they're more comfortable than he was when he first moved to 140, possibly. So,
Mhm.
we don't know where his power going to be at when he get in there with Brian Norman Jr.
Hey, like if you look at the old 135 Haney, like he was always big on the fact that muscles don't win fights, you know, because he was down there in that smaller weight class, and he didn't need a single muscle to beat them motherfuckers, you know. But now he's at 147, and he done packed on some muscle, you know. And like my boy
I
Greg
mean,
was saying, he a man.
I still don't think that Devin need to knock him out to win. I still think Devin
No,
can
he
win
no, he got
without
to
knocking him
got to
out.
get that respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get that respect. He got to surprise him. It's like, oh, I see an opening. I'm not just gonna touch him. I'm gonna crush him. You know, even if it don't hurt him or whatever, you got to just give it what you got.
Ray, what's good, Ray?
Sure, man. You know what? My phone died. My bad. But listen, you know how I do overnight. I just didn't charge my phone. But listen, man, I'm glad y'all brought this up. Greg, I couldn't salute you more when I heard you say that. Word is bond, bro. Me and Freaking been talking about this for a hot minute, and we've been on the same side of the street on saying the knockout's going to happen. I get criticized crazy, right? I
Mhm.
think Devin Haney not only will surprise y'all with the way he's going to fight at 147, I think we're going to actually even have something so significant. And I like Brian Norman. Listen, that kid's a stud, right? I mean, let me tell you, he can really fight, and I'm gonna pause on that. But yeah, man, Devin is just looking like a different animal. He's a faster fighter. His footwork's better. I'm watching Brian Norman train, and yes, he's getting better. But look how he's training. He's training to box, y'all. It's like he's got something to prove about being a boxer. It's not like he's sitting there trying to go in there and be a decapitator or what's he calling himself, the executioner or whatever he called himself. Assassin, my bad. He ain't looking like an assassin. He looking like a guy that's going into the box to try to prove that he can outbox a boxer. That's going to be the wrong thing. We've seen this happen before. And every time I make this comparison, people think I'm crazy. When I say go back and watch the Hagler fight with Sugar Ray. Hagler got out of his comfort zone trying to box a boxer, and we've seen the results of that. Even though it was a close fight, we've seen the results of that. This thing is, I think once we see the frustration of a young Brian Norman, when you see him get into a position that he's never been in, there's something that can happen. That's called a stoppage, right? It can come at the hands of a punch that he doesn't see coming because the frustration happens. Now it can go both.
We were saying that I think that Devin gonna stop Brian Norman, and guess
Yeah,
what? Greg Hackett just said the same thing I said, but he said it in a different way. He said Brian Norman know how to go down. Talking about that right cross that he caught from Boca Chica. I
yeah,
said the same thing, man. His
and I said
for
that.
me, his chin is in question still, bro. Because when he got up
Mhm.
from that right cross, he looked like he ain't know where he was at, bro. He looked like he wasn't good. So, if
Well,
and that was considered a flash knockdown. So, I question, I feel like I could question his chin, bro, because
yeah,
just
every
because of the fact
every
that he ain't have his legs up under him after, and it wasn't
right,
like Boca Chica really threw a power shot like to try to get him out of there. He just got caught with something he ain't see. And so I'm
right,
thinking
and
that's all it's going to take. We saw Devin throwing a 1-2 like that against Cambosis, all fight. We saw him throw that 1-2 punch. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And that's the
yeah.
same one that caught him. So I just think it's there, man. It might happen.
Yeah.
Don't be
Listen, man,
surprised.
and I agree with that, right? So let's just tap in on the other end of that. What we're talking about, like you said, Brian Norman not only just fighting Boca Chica and getting dropped. Look how he got hit with a guy that was off 2 years that came back into the ring in the second round with Cuervez. Cuervez hit him with a shot and buckled him.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yep.
he has capabilities of getting shook, getting hit with stuff he don't see coming because he lacks a defensive skill. And I'm not saying he's not defensively, but he lacks it. And his thing
Right.
is walk down and crush you. And when you have that type of attitude, you're going to walk into punches.
He
And
don't,
even Jin Sasaki was hitting him with some shit.
but now he don't come forward. Like, so the walk down thing, that's not really him. Now against Cuevas,
Wait,
Cuevas was
wait,
his best
who
fight.
don't come forward? You saying Brian Norman don't come forward?
Yeah, no, he don't come forward like that. He's not. He's not successful when he does it.
Mm.
Oh, wait, if he
He
don't come
counters a
forward,
lot. Yeah, he's saying he's
he really
countering a
gonna
lot.
get cooked
Yeah.
if he don't. If
But
he stand in the middle of the ring with Devin and don't really come forward and try to press Devin, I think that's gonna play in the Devin favor because I think Devin is the more talented fighter. I think he got the better jab and the better speed. I think that Devin got the better footwork. Like if he control a distance, even though Brian Norman Jr. got a longer reach. I think the fact that Devin might be a little taller, I'm not sure if he's a little bit taller, but I know for sure. I think
Look,
Devin got a better jab, so I think, and Devin faster. As long as Devin keep movement up, he keep his feints and all of that, and his footwork is on point and keeping the distance and keeping the jab out there. I don't think that this power we might not ever see if Brian Norman got that power that everybody think he got,
he
because if
don't.
he's not going to be there for it and he's not going to get a chance to set it up, we probably ain't even going to see it.
especially the
Exactly.
way he's catching the left hook on the mitts. You know what I mean? He's catching it well too. Devin is when you see him in training. Like I said, you're starting to see certain things as they're moving forward, and you always a creature of habits, right? So Devin has a chance of just dropping that hand at the wrong time, but Brian Norman has a bad um part of I need to get that lick back and I need to hit you as hard as I can, even if it's with a counter shot and I bait you in because and sit there and wait. Those are both bad moves for both fighters. But I just think that Devin is going to be more solid. Devin's going to be more trained because he's been training for that left hook for now 2 fights
Two
to avoid it.
years. 2 years.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Right. But Ramirez fight, he trained for it. He did drop his hands, you know what I mean? Creature of habit. But this time,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think he's already focused on not dropping it because he's been training for it. It starts moving into another part of the world, right? In your soul. So as you're doing that, it starts becoming a part of you. Brian Norman may have been doing all the stuff that he says he does, but we've never seen him translate that into the ring. So he's trying to do something, and we all see him fighting. We all see him in these sessions right now as he's doing his little highlights, and he is looking like Devin Haney, but slower. He's moving, he's turning, he's you know what I mean pivoting. He's throwing hard jabs, and his jabs are so slow, and I feel bad. I think his combinations are fast. He throws some fast combos, but I think the jab itself is so slow. And if he try to lead with that jab, it's going to be lights out. And it's because he's going to get hit with 3 or 4 shots before he even lands that jab, and it's going to frustrate him. And then that's where the fight changes, the whole complexity, where he goes back and goes into his zone of what he does best. I need to walk you down. I need to hurt you, waiting for you to throw something silly. And then timing is always a boxer's best friend. So I think
Hmm.
that's when Devin gets the body shot and drops him. But y'all can talk about that overhand, right? My bad.
Hey, see, Norman can only win this in a phone booth, and we know this fight is not going to end up in a phone booth.
It
Not for
better not.
not for long. Not for long. Even if it get in a phone booth, it's not going to last long. And then he don't have the one punch power that people are, pretending that he do. Like he
We
hit
don't
Facts.
Jensen,
think we don't think he do.
bro. He
Yeah,
hit Jensen
it's
Saki 100 times. You know what I mean?
Yep.
that's what I
Before he
was
put him out.
saying too. It was an accumulation that he was hitting him with everything until
Yeah, the
he
kitchen sink,
finally hit him with that shot that
bro.
not
Bro,
took
he
him
was about
out.
to
So
elbow that dude, bro. He was tired of him, bro. He like, damn, this motherfucker won't go.
If you watch the fight, if you go back and watch it, after the first 2 rounds, Norman was tired from trying to knock him out.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep. For one, hey,
that's
I'm,
one thing we know. You can't get tired fighting Dev though.
hey, nothing discourages a puncher more than hitting a guy with everything, and he just keep on ticking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, motherfucker, just
Yeah.
keep on going, bro. Motherfucker ate your punch, bro. That shit hurt your feelings.
Real
Mm-hmm.
shit.
For real, for real.
So at the rounds of that motherfucker would have been distraught, bro. But Jensen Saki couldn't do it. He's a nobody.
Right. He ain't had a power. He just had accumulation punches. So I mean,
Hey,
that's how he won most of his fights. Jensen Saki. I watched some of his fights.
hey,
He just
fellas,
had
I gotta
accumulations.
get up. I gotta get out of here. I appreciate y'all.
Peace,
Oh
bro.
Well,
yeah.
appreciate you,
Peace,
man. Yo,
peace.
I was just about to make my announcement too, man. I appreciate everybody coming up on the panel and everything. I appreciate everybody who came and showed up for this live. I'm just trying to figure it out. I ain't mean to be on this long. I was just trying to come on here and see how I could do it. I
Yes, sir.
still don't know how
Yeah.
to work some of this stuff, but I got a little bit better. But I'm definitely gonna try to do some more lives and everything. And maybe we can get a hater to come up here and get cooked. Hop up
Yeah.
here and get cooked or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, I was just trying to figure it out. I think I've been up here for over an
An hour,
hour
hour
already.
and 45 minutes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I appreciate everybody showing up. If you could smash the like button on the way out, hit the subscribe button, you know what I'm saying, for when I hit the next live. And I don't really know how to do too much on here, but we gonna get it.
All right.
Yeah,
Inshallah.
that's what's
Salute to
up.
everybody,
Appreciate it.
man.
One.
All right, all
One.
right. Peace out.